Peace, brothers and sisters. Brother Stephen X here, Respect Ring Media. Just wanted to chime in. Hope all is well with you. Just wanted to chime in on this topic of Tank Davis. I think what inspired it was brother BFTB, brother BF at BFTB Boxing. Check him out. Subscribe on YouTube. Had released the debate between KO, Knockout Boxing, and Freedom's March. And the topic was if Tank Davis should retire or not. And I know, folks, if you haven't heard the debate, go check it out. It's a separate clip on BF's boxing page. And Brother Freedom's March had chosen that, he was on the side of Tank Davis retiring. And KO was on the side that Tank Davis should not retire. He should continue his career. So I just wanted to chime in on that and share some of my deeper thoughts, more than just the sport of boxing, but also the sport of boxing and Tank Davis, the personality of a Tank Davis. What's funny? I used to be a Tank fan. Not as much as I am a Devin Haney fan, but when Tank would fight, I would always make sure to tune in. Even if it was a guy against, a guy like Rolly Romero or whoever Tank was fighting, I would tune in. And as I became a more, let's say, educated boxing fan, and with the ascension and rise of Devin Haney, and particularly with Devin Haney not even becoming undisputed, it was really the Devin Haney fighting Loma that really set apart for me. It set a contrast between him and Tank Davis. That's where I really saw that, whoa, what's going on here? Because I saw with Devin Haney against Loma and the challenge of that fight that Devin Haney had to endure. And how good his opponent was. Lomachenko's no joke. He's retired now, speaking of retirement. But Lomachenko, that fight it lived up to the billing. It was a chess match. It was just such a highly strategic, highly technical fight. Boxing. There was no knockout. There was no knockdown. But no one could tell me that fight was not entertaining. No one could tell me that you weren't sitting at the edge of your seat watching that fight. So that fight for me is what sparked something in my brain. I'm like, hold up. Tank Davis is not fighting. He's not in fights like that. He's knocking guys out. And, yeah, the knockout's thrilling and entertaining. But Devin Haney versus Lomachenko was entertaining too. And no one got knocked out. No one got knocked down. So that's where I realized to myself that I am a fan of the sport of boxing. I'm not a fan of knockouts. The game is not called knockouts. It's called boxing. And that's where I realized with myself, and I don't know if anyone can bear witness to this as well, but I enjoy two men getting in the ring and exhibiting skills, exhibiting the four criteria: slipping and rolling shots, defense, footwork is defense as well, ring generalship, effective aggression, clean punching, clean and hard punching, or whatever the criteria is. You know what I mean? When I see two men get in the ring, I want to see skills. I want to see knockdowns. I want to see knockouts, but I want to see skills. And the hardcore boxing fan I've always said this is similar to the hardcore soccer fan, or in Europe and other parts of the world, football fans. The goal is beautiful. When a player goes and scores a goal, it's beautiful. But a real soccer fan enjoys, or football fan enjoys, the interplay that happens between not getting a goal and getting a goal. That interplay, the passing, the volleying, the, you know, guys shooting the ball across the field and hitting the chest and controlling the ball. It's the same thing with the boxing fan. We enjoy the nuances and the slips and turns and the skills of boxing in the ring. Whether you're slipping a jab, you're rolling with the punches. Um, you guys could just be the two boxers can be standing in front of each other and just posturing and looking for an opening. Like all of these nuances, the hardcore boxing fan enjoys that. Tank Davis, his fan base is not a hardcore boxing fan base. Uh, I would measure that 85% or higher of his boxing fans are quote unquote casuals. And they're not a fan of boxing, they're a fan of Tank Davis. And that's fine. Everyone is allowed to be a fan of whatever fighter they want to be a fan of. My issue, and I can bear witness to this just because I remember being at a Tank Davis fight party when he fought against Frank Martin. And, I was actually at a fight party, and the majority of those people in the house were Tank fans. Um, and there was probably one or two, that, including me, Devin Haney fans. But I was at at a house, and most of those fans were Tank fans. And I quickly realized how much they didn't know boxing. They came to the fight party to watch Tank get the knockout, because with a Tank Davis fight, there's this like anticipation, there's a buildup that he's gonna get a knockout. That's why usually when his fights have started, everybody's like standing up in the first round. Have you ever noticed that? Nobody sits down. They're all standing, waiting, and then they settle down. And there's this tension that's building with a Tank fight. And I was at this party, and that tension was building. You felt that Frank Martin was going to get knocked out at any time. Frank Martin was doing good though. Those initial rounds, Frank Martin was winning that fight. But you can tell as the fight progressed that Frank was fighting scared, and he was intimidated by Tank. But he was intimidated before he even got in the ring. All those antics at the press conference, and I think Tank Davis has relied on a lot of that stuff with his past opponents, and it didn't work on Lamont Roach. Um, Lamont Roach knows Tank. They've sparred. It just didn't work on him. He couldn't intimidate him. He wasn't intimidated in the ring. But it had worked with Frank Martin and other opponents where Tank gets in your head. And I just think with the draw with Lamont Roach, Tank is mentally not in the sport of boxing. And he had lost that fight before he even got in the ring because he was talking retirement. He's probably done it before. But he's just not, you can tell with his demeanor that he's not interested. Well, we all know Tank's not interested in fighting the best. And he downgrades and reduces his rivals, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, whoever. And his fans do the same thing. Because I remember after he had knocked out Frank Martin, I pounded up. We pounded up. It's like, all right, it was a good match. Your man won. Someone a Tank fan that pounded me up, and I was like, Devin, okay, they need to fight. And this was after the incident where Tank was outside the restaurant, and Devin Haney was calling him all types of, all types of, So, but I remember saying that Devin and Tank need to fight each. No, they need to fight. And you know what the Tank fan told me? It's what Tank says. You know what he told me? He told me, man, he's gonna beat Devin. He doesn't need to fight him. You're gonna beat him. Sir, good day, sir. How was he gonna beat him if he doesn't get in the ring with him? And this is just like, this is the pattern that Tank Davis has fashioned his career after. And like I said, it really dawned on me. I wasn't really awoken to it because, like I said, I used to be a Tank fan. Not as much as I'm a Devin Haney fan, but I appreciated Tank's work. But that Loma fight is what raised my consciousness. And it's set, not even when Devin became undisputed. That's crazy, I know. But it was the Loma fight because it was just such a. Devin Haney would probably say that was a challenging fight. That was a challenging fight. And I saw how vested the boxing world was in after Devin had won. Shakur got in the ring and said Loma won, and I just saw and folks saying it was a robbery. This robbery narrative that was circulating. I mean, it was a UD decision. All three judges said Devin won. Devin clearly won the fight. You got to score it round by round, and you got to mute the fight. But I couldn't imagine Tank Davis in the ring with the likes of Lomachenko. I can't imagine Tank Davis in the ring with Lomachenko. I can't imagine him in the ring with any quote-unquote 50-50 fight. That's not his business model. His business model is to fight guys that he can knock out because Tank, as Leonard Ellerby said, is a star. And then Tank said, I'm not like these fighters. I'm not a fighter. I just want to get my money. And this attitude that Tank Davis has is another reason he should retire. You're all prize fighters. Of course you're there to get your money. What are you trying to achieve in the sport, in the game? What level are you trying to attain? If you're just telling me you're coming in for a paycheck, you're a worker man with your lunch pail. Okay, well, you don't deserve, that's fine, but you don't deserve to be in the conversations of elite boxers if that's your attitude and the way you're carrying your career and the opponent selection. You're not fighting anybody that's worthy of, getting in the ring with a champion. You have a belt. You have the WBA belt. Who are you fighting? Errol Spence said, who have you fought? So, circling back to that whole debate, I appreciated re-listening to it and just the points, just hearing, the points about money and like this. We all know that these are prize fighters. They're coming. Everyone knows everyone's getting paid. What are you trying to achieve in terms of accolades in the sport of boxing? That's what I want to talk about. And Tank Davis doesn't care about that. And he's mentally not there. He keeps saying he wants to retire, and he fought Roach the way he wasn't. He wasn't. If his fans say he wasn't focused, well, that's more of a reason why he should retire. Then fine, we take your word for it. He wasn't focused. Well, he should have been focused. He's a prize fighter. Amazon's paying him millions of dollars, right? Instead, he's taking knees and towel breaks, right? Instead of dealing with the consequences in front of him, Lamont Roach. Just think about that. Tank Davis took a knee and ran to the corner and pulled this antic, which I've been consistent in saying this. What he did was a form of cheating, and he knows he's the A side, and he knows he can get away with something like that. And there's a clip of him, what was it, Hector Garcia? This sort of happened, and this happened with the Hector Garcia fight, where Tank paused activities. I think there was a fight in the crowd. This is not the first time Tank Davis has done this, right? Where he just pauses and like, how do you pause in the middle of an active round? I mean, it's crazy. And that's another reason, like, that's just bad for the sport. You have a competitor that's so afraid of losing that he disregards the rules of the sport and doesn't honor the rules of the sport and pull some cheap trick, some cheap antic to avoid the consequences in front of him. In this case, Lamont Roach. So I just think he's just so bad for the sport. His attitude, he doesn't want belts. He fights who he wants to fight. But he doesn't want to fight who the fans want him to fight. He doesn't even respect his fans. What fans? Those same fans that I was at a fight party with couldn't even approach Tank on the street. He would just tell them, he would ignore them or just get out of my face or something. You know. But this guy's mentally not there. He says he wants to retire. Go ahead and retire then, sir. You say you're not like other fighters. I'm just here for my paycheck. Okay, well, the fans and don't appreciate that, and Amazon doesn't appreciate that because you couldn't even get the payday that you wanted for the rematch against Roach, right? Brother BF reported that the whole August PBC card is out because of Tank Davis. It's not even happening anymore. All the undercard fighting, they're not even fighting, and they started training in, what was it, May? Lamont Roach has been training. Tank's not in camp. Tank's getting arrested. Right? That's another sign that you're not focused. If you're getting in domestic squabbles to the point where you're getting rearrested, it's not your first time. It's time for you to retire. Go focus on your personal life because you are going to get knocked out. The same thing you've been doing your whole career with all of these outside distractions and your disrespect of the sport of boxing and your disrespect to the rules of boxing inside the ring and the way your conduct as a champion or so-called champion outside of the ring. He brings disrepute. I mean, this is folks, I'm very comfortable. I wouldn't be comfortable with making a broadcast like this a few years ago. But I'm very comfortable saying these things because I've seen this man is on a downward spiral and it will not end well. I've lived long enough and have enough personal experience to be like, this ain't going to end well in the ring and outside the ring. If there isn't an intervention on this young man's life, something to stop the downward spiral so he doesn't continue to descend. You see what I'm saying? Something to stop him from falling. Right? And getting back up and then ascending. He's falling. And this legal situation is not going to be good. And he got in trouble in the state of Florida, which is the worst place to get in trouble, legal trouble in. He's already mentally weak. He's not mentally tough enough to, this man says he's afraid of becoming a meme. Well, you are a meme, sir. There's a picture of you running to your corner. You're already a meme. It's a self-fulfilling. You brought about this negative self-fulfilling prophecy. You spoke something into existence of a negative nature and it happened to you. And that's because you disrespect the sport. You do not honor the rules of the sport. You're acting a fool outside of the ring. Tank Davis needs to get his life together. I'm not just going to preach. If he hears this, get your life together, man. Get your life together, man. Get your life together. And his fans don't hold him accountable. I'm going to go even harder. Everything that Tank represents of a negative nature is like, it's the worst parts. It's what we don't need. We don't need that in the sport of boxing. We don't need your F you to the fans. I'm gonna fight who I want to fight. I'm just here to make money. When the fans are the ones giving you the money. And you're not choosing to challenge yourself in your career. And you don't even realize that you're not getting the money that you want because you're not fighting the guys that are going to challenge you and that are going to put on a Lomachenko, a Devin Haney Lomachenko fight. That kind of fight. Have you ever seen Tank in that kind of fight? Where you think he might lose? I was biting my nails when Devin was fighting Loma. Because just every round was just nerve-wracking. You're just like, damn. Because it was a chess match. That Devin, he won, but he had to go through trial. He had to step to Loma, He was stepping to him. He wasn't counterpunching. He was stepping to him. And when you do that, you leave yourself open so you leave yourself open when you do that, but it's the risk you have to take to win the round, and it was a great game plan. It worked. Great game plan. And Devin made a statement with that fight. That was a statement fight, and I've never seen Tank Davis in a statement fight. A statement fight. I haven't seen it. I just think he's bad for the sport. He doesn't honor the sport. And he's going to get knocked out if he fights Manny Pacquiao, Jake Paul. Another reason to retire. This is a joke. You're a champion, a WBA champion, and you're allowed to do an exhibition-like fight. And who knows? I don't think Jake Paul would have wanted to be an exhibition. But it's up to the commission, the sanctioning body or bodies, whether that's going to be an exhibition fight or not. But I just don't. The weight disparities are too much. I mean, what weight would this circus fight be fought at? I mean, the whole thing is just crazy that this is even in the atmosphere. You can do that after you're stripped of the belts or after you retire. Go ahead and do whatever you want. But he's looking for a bag to get out the game with. 2 Ferraris. Give me $20 million, and like you turned down the offer from His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. $20 million to fight Devin Haney. Turned it down. $20 million. Right? You're afraid to fight in a Muslim country because Devin is Muslim. Turkey is Muslim. Oh, you're not going to win. This is cowardice. This is cowardice, ladies and gentlemen. This is not how a fighter moves. A fighter challenges himself because he wants to be a better fighter and he knows he has to fight the best competition that he can find, not the lowest competition. Because by fighting the lower competition, you become like them. You share the ring with people that are like you. You don't share the ring with people that are beneath you. You become like your competition. Who you fight matters. And Tank Davis got his wake-up call with Lamont Roach. That game of pulling up smaller fighters, guys that 130, pulling them up to 135, that game caught up to him. His cherry picking caught up to him, and he was exposed, and he got booed. Devin Haney was booed in that same Barclays Center after his fight with Ryan. I heard it. I remember Chris Mannix was interviewing. Devin was. I heard the boos. I heard it on the TV. And he said Allah is the perfect planner, and he makes no mistakes. He accepted his loss at the time, fully and gracefully. And he said he wanted the rematch, and he said that in the ring. And was not affected by the boos of the crowd. Tank Davis was booed. It's like, why y'all booing me? Oh, well, they love you and they hate you. Why y'all booing me? This guy does not have the mentality to endure a loss. It will crush him and his fan base. And that's why he's not rematching Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach is moving on and should move on. Forget this guy. How can you ever trust him to do a fight? He's more concerned about preserving his O. You already lost. A draw, it was a gifted draw. What A-side star fighter gets a gifted draw? A-side star fighters get gifted wins. You know, like that Bud and Madrimov fight. A lot of us watching that fight scoring like Madrimov beat him. But Bud's A-side, you know, A-sides get gifted wins. It's like, nah, well, they're close rounds, you know. This is just boxing. We know how boxing is. Madrimov had to do more. Whatever narratives we come up with. But A-sides get gifted wins. They don't get gifted draws. That's how the judges couldn't mix it. They had to save Tank by just giving him a draw because the knee and towel break was bad enough. And then not only that, Lamont Roach was piecing you up. And you couldn't do nothing with him. So like, okay, let's give this guy a draw. Because we can't justify be give him a gifted win because you know it would be atrocious. So I mean, this is just oh my goodness. This guy, I mean, the downward spiral of Tank Davis. He should retire for his own benefit. He's not built for this. He's not built for the ups and downs of boxing. He's not built for the road to glory. His eyes are not on the prize. His eyes are not on the prize. And it's just, please just save yourself and save us, the fans of boxing, from this downward spiral that we're seeing with you and your negative attitude and your disrespect, your punkish attitude, your disrespect of the sport of boxing. I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of his fans too. So anyways, I just wanted to get on mic and share some of my thoughts after watching that debate. It's a good debate, and I think Brother Freedom Smart's made some good points. You know, time for Dank Davis. Focus on your life, sir. Um, yeah, And sometimes to be a better boxer, you have to work on your life. You can always come back. He's 30. He could come back, but he needs time out of the ring to take care of things and get his mental right. And that requires looking at the man in the mirror and you know, yeah, just looking at the man in the mirror and saying, being honest with yourself and saying, I need to correct a few things, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to say. I mean, I could say so much more, but I'll probably just do another broadcast. You could check out my articles at respectringmedia.com. If you shoot me an email, you can shoot me an article or any questions you want to connect. Respectringmedia@gmail.com. If you want to support the work and the Cash App, it's $ respect ring media. I'm on Twitter, very active on Twitter. It's at Respect Ring News. You'll see the page. It's Respect Ring Media, and the at is Respect Ring News. I think that's about it, and definitely until the next time. Who knows? I might make another one on this, or I think this might be good enough. But I hope you folks have a great day. I hope you have a blessed day, and thank you for listening. Peace and blessings. Stephen X out. Bye for now.